Good afternoon, Namibia and the world, and welcome to the Government Information Center. My name is Desire Kahia, and this afternoon I will be hosting this very paramount press conference. As we know, fuel is one of those things that dictates a lot with regards to economical budgeting, our pricing of different things. And this afternoon, we do have the Honorable Modestus Amutse. He is the Minister of Industries, Mines and Energy, and he is the one who's carrying the heavy burden of letting us know what is happening. And along with him, he is very much protected. He knows that the world, Namibia, is waiting on him today, and he is accompanied by Ms. Anna Libana. She is the Director of Energy Funds, as well as Mr. Abednego Ekanjo. He's the Acting Deputy Director for Petroleum Downstream, as well as a Chief Economist. So good afternoon, Honorable. Thank you very much for finally unleashing us this afternoon. I know we're not there yet, but at least now we get to know where we're going for the month of April. And thank you very much as well for the officials that are joining us here in the studio. We also have our media counterparts. Thank you very much for joining us. Small house rules before we kick it off. Please ensure that your phones are all on complete silence, not even vibration, complete silence. And we will allow the minister to address us, and once he has completed his address, the floor will be opened to the media that can come up to where I'm standing at the podium. You introduce yourself and just inform us from which media house you are representing this afternoon. But with that, I would like to hand it over to the Honorable. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon, everyone in the Republic of Namibia. Members of the media, fellow Namibians, I wish to acknowledge and appreciate the consistent queries and engagement from the media since the onset of the recent global geopolitical tensions. Your role in keeping the Namibian public informed is both important and commendable. This media conference has been convened to provide a timely and transparent update to the Namibian nation on the current status of supply in light of the ongoing geopolitical tensions in the Middle East, and to outline the key factors influencing supply as well as the measures being implemented to safeguard continuity, protect the interest of all Namibians, and maintain stability in our economy. In an increasingly uncertain global environment marked by geopolitical tensions and disruptions in international supply chains, it is imperative that we continuously assess and strengthen our national resilience. The government of the Republic of Namibia remains fully committed to ensuring a stable, reliable, and secure supply of essential resources while proactively addressing emerging risks. I wish to highlight that the role of the government is to ensure the security, stability, and affordability of fuel supply in the country. It regulates fuel prices, monitors international developments, and works closely with the 4 major oil marketing companies to oversee import schedules, storage levels, and the overall reliability of the supply system. This mandate is provided for under the Petroleum Products Energy Act of 1990, which empowers the minister to regulate fuel prices and ensure orderly supply in the national interest. In view of the economic situation, The Namibian government has also been and continues to provide strategic guidance and coordination to address emerging risks from the global geopolitical tensions, ensuring that our country remains resilient against potential disruptions. Namibia is a net importer of petroleum products with no operational oil refineries. Our annual consumption is roughly between 1.1 billion liters, of which 70% is diesel and 30% petrol, equating to approximately 100 million liters of petrol and diesel consumed monthly. Prices of petrol and diesel are regulated by the government, while jet fuel, paraffin, and heavy fuel oil are not regulated. There are 4 major oil marketing companies that we now have that are responsible for importing petroleum products and participating in the slate account administered by the National Energy Fund. And these companies are Namcor, Puma Energy Namibia, Vivo Energy Namibia, and Total Energies Namibia. Based on the submissions received from the suppliers, the following observations are made. That the country currently holds adequate stock levels of petrol and diesel to meet national demand over 1 month to 2 months. Global oil prices remain sensitive to developments in the Middle East, particularly shipping routes and production volumes, which could influence domestic prices, though not physical availability. At this stage, there are no supply disruptions affecting Namibia. The risk we are managing is primarily price-related, not availability-related. In practical terms, Namibia's fuel supply system is supported by a combination of well-coordinated measures, including established import arrangements through the Port of Walvis Bay, robust storage infrastructure such as the National Oil Storage Facility, and facilities operated by the respective fuel suppliers, strategic stockpiling, and regular import scheduling, close coordination with the oil suppliers, and diversified sourcing from international oil markets. These combined measures ensure a stable and reliable supply of fuel for the country, even during periods of global market uncertainty. The ministry has taken note of reports of panic buying by some consumers, but wish to emphasize that there is no need for concern at the moment. Namibia's fuel stocks remain adequate. We urge all Namibians to continue purchasing fuel as needed and to avoid unnecessary boarding of fuel. Furthermore, petroleum products are classified as hazardous substances, and storing them requires compliance with safety, environmental, and fire protection standards. So the public is therefore advised not to store fuel in excessive quantities or unsafe conditions, as this poses serious risk, and it's indeed unnecessary at the moment. Additionally, the resale of petrol or diesel without a license is illegal. Under the Petroleum Products and Energy Act of 1990, only authorized and licensed entities may sell fuel to the public, and buying or selling fuel through informal channels is strongly discouraged due to the legal and safety risks involved. I emphasize once again, at this stage, Namibia's supply system remains stable. The key transmission channel we are observing is through international oil prices rather than physical supply constraints. Members of the media, I mentioned the National Energy Fund when I spoke of the suppliers of oil. Allow me to briefly elaborate on its role. The National Energy Fund is mandated to equalize fuel prices through the cumulative slate account. This mechanism compensates oil marketing companies for losses incurred when the import cost of fuel exceeds the regulated pump price and conversely recovers gains when costs are lower. The objective is to smooth price volatility and ensure stability in domestic fuel prices. During this difficult period, therefore, the government, as part of its efforts to mitigate the fuel price shock in the economy, has resolved to temporarily reduce fuel levies within the fuel price structure by 50%. And in addition, the fund will continue to stabilize fuel price volatility for at least the next 3 months. While part of the under-recoveries expected in April 2026 will be absorbed by the National Energy Fund, amounting to approximately 500 million per month. That is what the government, through the National Energy Fund, would spend on behalf of the public, just not to transfer the whole cost of fuel at the pump to the public. In closing, let me reiterate that the government of the Republic of Namibia remains committed to ensuring a secure, stable, and affordable supply of fuel for all Namibians. The current fuel pricing system continues to function as intended, balancing international market realities with the need to protect Namibian consumers from excessive volatility. We will continue to monitor developments in the global oil markets and implement all necessary measures to safeguard our national energy security. I urge all Namibians to remain calm, purchase fuel responsibly, and trust that your government is taking proactive steps to protect the interest of every citizen. Together, we can navigate these challenging times and maintain the stability that underpins our nation's growth and prosperity. And I thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable. There you have it, Namibia. Our government has definitely taken care of us. I think a lot of people are now going to be breathing a bit easier, Honorable. So thank you very much for this very important information.
Thank you very much indeed. But I want to inform you that either now or later, I must also announce then the fuel prices as we have reviewed them.
Yes. And I think we would like to allow Honorable to continue with that. We just wanted to make sure that you understand that we can breathe a little bit easier. It's not the extreme that we thought it was going to be. Over to you, Honorable.
Yeah, thank you very much. Members of the media, it is again time that the Ministry of Industries, Mines and Energy present to you the fuel price review for April 2026. The Ministry of Industries, Mines and Energy has completed a review of the fuel price for April 2026 and hereby notifies the public of its decision. This is the process we normally do at the end of each month to announce the result of the price review for the successive month. Now, the international oil prices sharply increased during the month of March 2026. This was mainly driven by escalating geopolitical tensions in the Middle East, particularly between the United States, Israel, and Iran. These developments have increased market uncertainty and risk premiums, leading to higher international crude oil and refined petroleum products prices. Concerns over potential supply disruptions, including possible impacts on key shipping routes such as the Strait of Hormuz, have further increased freight and insurance costs. Additionally, the weakening of the Namibian dollar against the US dollar has further increased the cost of importing petroleum products into Namibia. According to the ministry's latest calculations, the average price of petrol, that is the 95, for the period calculating from the 1st to the 23rd of March 2026, was in terms of US dollars 124.92 cents per barrel, which presents an increase of 56.9% from the February 2026 average of $79.60. In contrast, the average price of diesel during the same period increased to 197.53 cents per barrel, representing 122.1% increase from the previous 88.92 US dollars that were recorded in February 2026. And the diesel 10 ppm followed a similar trend, averaging 197.90 cents per barrel, an increase of 122.2% compared to the February 2026 average of only 89.06 per barrel. The Namibian dollar weakened against the US dollar during the review period. From the 1st to the 23rd March 2026, the average exchange rate stood at $16.62 per US dollar, reflecting a 3.9% appreciation compared to the February 2026 average of $16 only. Based on the outcomes of the preceding input factors and other parameters considered within the fuel pricing model, the pricing model recorded under recoveries of 602.99 cents per liter for petrol and 1,291.53 cents per liter for diesel, 50 ppm, and 1,258.44 cents per liter for diesel, 10 ppm, during the review period. Furthermore, the Cabinet has resolved to temporarily reduce the number of levies imposed on fuel by 50% for 3 months, with effect from 1st April to June 2026. This measure is necessitated due to the high price volatility of petroleum products, which resulted from the ongoing geopolitical tensions in the Middle East. Therefore, to offer relief to fuel consumers at the pumps, the Cabinet deliberated on the matter and resolved to intervene accordingly. The ministry has therefore resolved to increase fuel pump price from April 2026 as follows. For petrol, an increase of $2.50 per liter. For both diesel grades, $4 per liter. These adjustments will come into effect as of 1st of April 2026. Consequently, fuel prices in Walvis Bay will be set at $22.08 per liter for petrol and $23.63 per liter for diesel, and that is 50 ppm, and $23.73 per liter for diesel, 10 ppm. And fuel prices across the rest of the country will be adjusted accordingly. The remaining under recovery will be absorbed by the National Energy Fund, amounting to approximately 500 million. That simply means that instead of putting the whole cost on the end users at the pump, the government have undertaken to cover the rest of the cost with a total of 500 million, so that we don't pay too much at the pump. That is definitely the intervention that has been considered by the government. Namibia is fully dependent on imported refined petroleum products at the moment, and these global developments directly influence domestic fuel price, unfortunately. So the ministry will continue to closely monitor the situation and, where possible, implement measures to cushion the impact on consumers while ensuring the security of supply in the country. I thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much, Honorable. Definitely that blow was not as heavy as we're expecting it, as I said earlier on. So we do actually thank the government for taking such major steps to try and make sure that the bulk of the grant is not sitting on the consumer. At this juncture, I'd like to ask the House whether there are any media representatives that would like to ask a question. Going once. Going twice. Okay. As I stated earlier on, that the minister is joined by officials from his ministry, and I would just like to hear from them whether they would like to add anything. Pardon me? Oh, we do have one media representative. Please do come to the podium. Just a reminder, please introduce yourself and the media house that you represent before you ask the question.
Good morning, Minister.
Good day.
Good day. Sorry. Yakubu's captain from NBC. As you have mentioned, sir, there will be measures from April up to June now. The question is, after June, will there be further measures looking at the current situation of the ongoing political instability in the Middle East? And furthermore, how will it affect the prices? And when it comes to transport, like, will the transport fees increase as the oil prices will be increasing?
Thank you very much. It seems that is the only question that we have at the moment. And perhaps I can answer that one to say, for now we have planned for the 3 successive months, that is from now to June. But we are saying we are monitoring the situation in the Middle East, and our position will be informed by the happenings within the conditions of the Middle East. If the war or the conflicts continue, it will definitely have certain impacts on either our oil prices or general commodities, but those will be determined by the factors that would otherwise be as a result of the ongoing conflict. Should the conflict say stop before the foreseeable time of 3 months, we will accordingly also adjust ourselves to the prevailing conditions. So that is a bit difficult at the moment to predict what will happen after June. Our hope is that the escalation would not continue after June. So our hope is that the conflict ends within a shorter period of time, upon which then we will also inform ourselves as to which step to take. But our interest will continue to be to protect the end user when it comes to the fuel prices, knowing that the fuel prices, if they continue to rise, they may have impact on the general commodities elsewhere. So obviously that is something that is outside of our control, but is something that we are trying to manage as a government for the interest of the people.
Okay. I hope that provided clarity. Excuse me, sir? Okay. So at this point, if there are no further questions from the House, we can definitely conclude this one. Thank you very much, Honorable, for availing your time this afternoon to brief us on the reviews for the coming month and also the various steps that you as a government have placed have put in place, to ensure the relief on the consumer. At this point, I would also like to say thank you for the viewer who is joining us from your living room, from your office, from your boardroom, for joining in. And please do remember, for any information, if you want to remain updated with regards to anything that's happening in our country, always join us here at the Government Information Center. From myself and my various technical colleagues, it is bye-bye for now.